Hey, David, you know what makes our show great?
What's that, Kevin?
No ads. You know what would make it better?
What's that, Kevin?
Ads.
What if, and I'm just spitballing here, we do ads for independent creators at reasonable rates?
How reasonable?
Overly. How about $2 per episode pre-roll?
That is almost too reasonable.
Might as well go for it. Let's send everyone to the contact page for Supernatural Selection.
SupernaturalSelectionPod.com/contact?
Exactly. Just have them scroll down to the Advertise With Us section for more information.
That sounds great. Now let's record the ad.
Kevin,
Yes, David?
we just did.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Supernatural Selection. I'm your host, Kevin the Bastard. With me are Mike the Skeptic. Mike, how are you today?
I'm fine. How are you?
Do we want to go into that?
No.
We're not going to go into that.
No, because that's
fine.
really, the gist of it.
Yeah,
We're fine down here. How are you?
Yes, thank you, Han.
Kind of what I was going
Boring
for.
conversation
Yeah.
anyway.
I read an interesting thing about Han, come to point out. What do you think Vader was thinking when, his son, daughter, former mentor,
The droid he built.
his droid he built, and his personal R2 unit all show up with this random asshole? I mean, he's got to be like, what the fuck? Who is this
Yeah.
guy? Is this someone that means something to me that I don't know about?
Is he my illegitimate son? Did I fuck a sand person?
Yeah, I mean,
Well, he didn't know that Luke and Leia were his children
Okay,
at
that's
that point.
fair. And you know what? Neither did they, because there would not have been that much smooching.
on retrospection though,
Sure.
you had to be
yeah.
sitting there going, okay, so they were all there, but who is this Han guy? Is he that guy that I had a thing with in Padawan school?
In Weebelos.
Ha
Jedi
ha.
Weebelos.
Haha, Han, you're banging my daughter. Haha.
Yeah. We also have Mr. David Davis. How are you?
I'm doing well. I paid off my car.
Oh,
Congrats.
dude, that is awesome. That is like,
Yep.
dude, I'm proud of you.
Wait, that's the
Yeah,
wrong
yeah.
radio show though.
Oh, we're doing a Dave
yep.
Ramsey thing.
Do you want to yell freedom?
No,
you can,
I'm-
but you don't have to.
Do you want to play Freedom by George Michael?
Why not?
Freedom! That's as much as you get. All right.
Yeah, no, but I'm very excited. And then it was hailing today in the desert of Southern
Yeah,
California.
I
which
saw
is
that
What?
there's
Yeah.
a blizzard warning. I'm like,
I
holy
was
shit,
gonna
is this
ask.
the end times?
Well, it is California. So,
Well, I mean, no, but it's an unprecedented blizzard warning in
Okay.
California.
yeah. That's fair.
Yeah, so we've had hail. I think every 4 or 5 years we get a good hailstorm.
Right.
One of my fondest memories is okay. So I don't know if you guys know this, but I was a dumbass as a kid.
We all
wasn't?
were, but yeah.
One of my favorite memories is we had a really, really bad hailstorm, and I wanted to go and play in it. So I grabbed a milk crate and I ran with the milk crate over my head. Did not protect me, but it was fun as hell.
Oh, man. That does sound pretty... You must have felt like
Right?
you were running through a war zone.
I'm David Davis, and welcome
Dude,
to
it was
Jackass.
This
This is Hailstorm Milk Crate.
It was great, man. I miss doing shit like that. Now, if I were to try to do that, I'd break a hip.
Yeah. No, we've definitely
Yeah, no,
hit the
I-
age where falling down is not something you just get up from anymore.
I call falling down
Yeah.
a significant life event.
You have to
Exactly.
note that shit on Facebook.
Yeah, a lot of the shit that I did as a kid, I do not dare try to repeat it now, because I was one of those kids that's like, oh shit, BMX bikes, rollerblades, skateboards.
Oh, I was one of those, hey, look, a TV, let's throw sticks at it and see if we can bust the tube. And I'll never forget that, because the guy that Monkey is based on held up a stick at the TV was down what we called the turd pond. It was like this super deep hole with like stank ass water, and there was just a TV in the middle of it. And we were throwing sticks at it, trying to bust it, and Monkey just goes, "Satan, I command thee!" and threw it and pierced the TV and blew up the tube, and we're like, holy shit, Satan is awesome.
Hell yeah.
So,
I
yeah.
have a fun stank pond story, but we'll save it for another episode.
We'll do that on Weekend Weird next time.
Stories from the stank pond.
That is a segment.
I don't have
They're
any
tales that
stank pond
tend
stories.
they're tales that tend to linger.
Tales that tend to linger. Okay, so what are we talking about this week, David?
Okay, well, today I want to present two cryptids or mythical creatures closely associated with the American identity, but with some global connections.
Honest politicians?
No, we're not that fortunate here.
Okay.
No, but we're doing this is American Cryptids Volume 1. This is just again, these aren't like with some of the cryptids we've discussed, there's like that potential for them to be real.
Yeah.
Where these are pretty much just jokes that everybody just kind of plays along with.
Right.
Like, you know, there's a big difference between, say, a Sasquatch and a jackalope, which is one of the first creatures we're talking about
Specifically here. Size.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine a jackalope that's 6 feet tall?
Yes, and I'm screaming internally.
Isn't that a D&D like creature?
I think so.
Probably is. So, yeah, you guys ready to dive into this?
Yeah, I just want to say I would not surprise me about the D&D thing because Gary Gygax was not an original man. But let's move on from bad-mouthing D&D's creator.
Okay, so, as you know, rabbits aren't a stranger to the show.
Yeah.
You know, when we talked about Easter and the supernatural history surrounding the holiday, we spoke at length about rabbits. We had those fun pictures of the creepy bunny costumes.
Didn't we also talk about like giant rabbits being in people's yards and shit?
Yes. So the thing is, though, that rabbits are closely associated with myth and the supernatural far beyond what we discussed in the context of Easter.
Right.
Well, I mean, it kind of makes sense. They are weird little guys.
Yeah.
You know, they kind of disappear at a moment's notice.
Cute rats.
Yeah.
So, gentlemen, have you ever heard Tales of the Jackalope?
Now,
Isn't that HBO anthology show that used to come on in like the 90s?
Yeah, it came on right after Real Sex.
yeah. And we all remember Real Sex. Now, I remember they had Jackalope shorts on America's Funniest People, which was hosted by Dave Coulier and Arlene Zorkin back in the 90s. And other than that, when you say Jackalope, I just think of truck stops.
You know, I remember that. I remember the Jackalope bits.
Fast
I
as
don't.
fast can be,
Oh,
you'll
okay.
never catch me.
Okay, now, until you said that, I didn't remember it. But then
Okay.
you said that, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I kind of remember that now.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, if I were to ask you what a jackalope looks like, what would you tell me?
It's a rabbit with horns.
I was going to say a
Yeah.
rabbit with antlers.
Well, antlers. Horns,
Either
whatever.
either way.
Its antlers
It
are
varies.
a little
Right.
more branching than horns,
Right.
but yes.
So, the jackalope is a creature named from the portmanteau of a jackrabbit and antelope. Specifically, the creature is described as a hare that features the horns of an antelope, although popular depictions feature deer antlers.
Now, the difference being what part of Texas you're in, I'm guessing?
Yeah, so here's the thing. The jackalope is largely what we'd consider a hoax, but there is something fascinating about it as a hoax, which we're going to cover this.
Right.
You know, again, like when we've covered like the goblins, when we've covered, you know, Mothman and that sort of thing, there's like this kind of air of plausibility
Or
to them.
some people believe it at any rate. Yeah.
Right, and we don't have such a clear picture of the origin of it as we do the jackalope.
Right.
So for this section, I'm gonna cite one of my sources, and I'll cite them as I go through.
Right.
But I started off with an article from Matt Simon on he wrote for Wired. Specifically, the article is "Fantastically Wrong: The Disturbing Reality That Spawned the Mythical Jackalope." So The jackalope is an example of a hybrid in myth and legend. Many mystical creatures, the ones we may be most familiar with, are hybrids, such as the cockatrice, the sphinx, etc.
Yeah, and the Ebersisk from Willow.
Right, that is the most petty thing. I
That
love
is
it.
that is such a middle finger to critics.
I wonder if we should explain that reference or we should just let it hang in the air.
Yeah, okay. In Willow, the original movie Willow, there was a beast called the Ebersisk. It had 2 heads, and it was named after Siskel and Ebert because Lucas felt that they were monsters.
Just unbelievably petty. I appreciate the depths of that.
It really is. Oh, and that's like having a monster called the Gene Shalit.
Or I don't know. I guess today it would be just like
The Roger Ebe.
Or I was thinking like just tomatoes that attack people with teeth. Oh wait, that was a movie.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some other hybrids because there's a ton of them out there.
You said the cockatrice, the Sphinx.
Is it trice or treece?
It's cockatrice
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
because it's like 3 animals in one technically.
Okay.
I don't know. I can't think of any offhand.
Well,
Other than the spider baby.
Well, I mean, mer people.
Oh, good point.
yeah.
Mer people. Very politically correct, by the way.
Yeah.
Very woke of you
Yes.
to say people.
I know there's one more I can't think of off the top of my head. Well, the Minotaur,
Oh, god dang, you're
Yep.
right.
Centaur. Well, centaurs weren't really ever, I guess I can't.
I mean,
I've never heard of
I'd lump
centaurs
them in
as
there.
mythological. Like
Yeah.
I'm mostly familiar with them in like fiction
They're
I don't know if they were
based
ever-
on myth.
mythology. I guess.
I guarantee you some Greeks found a skeleton of like a dude on a horse, and we're
the
like, oh my
horse's
god.
head. Oh yeah, the horse's head probably got cut off in
'cause
battle.
That's one of the things that led to the idea of the Cyclops for them was they had found an elephant skull apparently.
and they got like that big front cavity. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And they have the eyes on the side, but they don't quite look like orbit
Right.
sockets.
Right.
Yeah, so like obviously there's been a lot of different hybrids. Hybrids have been very common in history, specifically hybrid rabbits. This is going to be kind of an interesting well here.
Okay.
So again, I said that this was supposed to be like American cryptids, but let's just say I fell down a rabbit hole here.
Oh, that's first off, that's terrible. Secondly,
Were you,
America is spawned from Europe, so it would only make sense that we're gonna go abroad a little bit.
so
Right.
So you're telling me you fell down a hole while chasing a rabbit? Did it have a clock? Did you end up in Wonderland?
Drink me. All right. So
Lick me. Anyway.
So the concept of a horned rabbit is not exclusive to the Americas, and I mean like a rabbit with a horn, not a horny rabbit.
Well, they're horny as well.
Yeah.
Right.
You ever seen a rabbit fuck a cat?
It's horrifying.
I have
It
not.
is not a good thing to see.
Wow. So as far as I can tell, the earliest one I could find was something known as the Al-Miraj. So this animal is a one-horned rabbit across several examples of medieval Arabic literary works.
Okay.
One such work is the Legend of Iskandar. How well do you know our history here? Who is Iskandar?
Wasn't he at the Battle of Helm's Deep?
Sounds like it.
Wasn't that really terrible movie they made back in the 80s?
Oh, with Dustin Hoffman and
Yeah.
Warren Beatty.
Yeah.
Iskandar.
Nope.
That was Ishtar.
Do we want to try to give a serious guess here, or are we just
I
playing
don't have
now?
no clue.
Yeah,
No,
sorry.
it's fair. Like, how into you, gentlemen? How into history are you?
I'm pretty into history, but like I'm also old.
Okay. Well, Iskandar is the name for Alexander the Great in certain regions.
Huh, no kidding.
Yeah, so we're tying the jackalope to Alexander the Great here, which is going to be fun.
Okay.
So, Yeah, so specifically, the creature was said to live on an island in the Indian Ocean, and this is pulled from a 13th century text called Marvels of Things Created and Miraculous Aspects of Things Existing.
Okay, this is just a precursor to Unexplained.
Right? They really, like, fixed the title after that.
Yeah, it took it had to be workshopped a little.
So, in the text, this one-horned rabbit is described as a yellow hare with a black horn, and wild beasts flee from it. In the story, Iskandar is gifted one after slaying a dragon that was attacking local livestock of a village.
So they're saying Alexander the Great bested a dragon.
Yes, and they gave him a magic horned rabbit.
If you ever wonder what was so great about him.
Yeah, obviously.
So I'm going to quote from a translation of a French symposium proceeding. I'm using Google Translate, so your mileage may vary here.
How was Babby formed?
Exactly.
How was Babby formed? How girl get pregnant?
Okay, so here I go. The bizarre gift of the natives is not treated at greater length in the chapter on strange animals where it would have its place. Its unique black horn, yellow color, and ferocity are inherited from the unicorn, aka rhinoceros, aka monoceros, aka unicorn as depicted in Caswini's contemporary Greek and medieval bestiaries. Its appearance as a hare or a rabbit is therefore only a contingent element, perhaps due to an error in the Syriac or Coptic translator. This avatar of the unicorn has no name in Kazwini's text, but other Arabic sources give it the name Al-Miraj.
Now, I do think it's interesting that this mythical creature is called the Al-Miraj, and it's very phonetically similar to our word mirage, and I was wondering if either of y'all had thoughts on that.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense. We borrowed, like, hell, our numbers are borrowed from the Arabic world.
Zero.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we didn't even have an idea for zero before the Arabs.
But yeah, like, what I find interesting about that passage, inherited from the unicorn, aka the rhinoceros, aka the monoceros. It's kind of like, you remember the Oliphants in Lord of the Rings?
Yes.
Like, that's whenever I read Lord of the Rings, which I do on occasion, just the idea that it's like a translation of something that was going on in Europe.
Right.
It was a real thing that happened, and the size of the elephant is exaggerated.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's that cool kind of thing. Like we talked with, like, for example, the elephant being considered a cyclops and that sort of thing.
Right. Or the mountain gorilla being completely fictional. Hairy man, you're full of shit. Holy crap, that's a hairy man.
Exactly. So, it's interesting that, like, the correlation between the unicorn and this horned rabbit, where it's like, well, maybe the rabbit is just a mistranslation, but even then it's still depicted in pictures.
Yes.
So I just found that really interesting. So we're kind of tying unicorns here.
I think any kind of horned beast being tied together is interesting. That sounded dirtier than I meant it. I'm sorry. Let's move on.
Right. So another example of the horned rabbit comes from Europe, specifically the Bavarian region.
Yeah, in Bavaria.
The trees are made of wood.
That's a deep cut Monty Python joke.
So I'm going to be referencing a blog post from Abby Carter on imexpat.de, which is a blog for German expats.
Okay.
And I think it summarizes the creature pretty well.
Didn't realize there are a lot of former people named Patrick from Germany.
Throw something at his head, by God.
I used to be Pat. I like it. Okay, I'm going to quote here. Quote, "The story goes that the Wolpertinger is the result of a romantic relationship between a hare and a roebuck.
Oh, hell
We're not
yeah.
quite sure. We're not quite sure how that would work anatomically, but we'll suspend our disbelief for the sake of the story. Who produced a creature with the body of a hare and the horns of a deer."
That makes perfect sense.
So a roebuck, are we talking like Sears or, our friends, the roebucks?
I think that's what you call a deer that's
Yes.
fording a river.
I
Oh,
God.
Nice.
Yeah.
I
Hate it.
definitely can't take it as well as I give it.
Yep. Nope. Nope.
So I got more to the quote here.
please.
It was a nice
Please
long
continue.
one. Yeah. Well, why write something when someone else can do it for me? You know what I mean? Their union inspired their union inspired all sorts of other woodland creatures to follow suit. So it just became a fuck frenzy.
Hail Satan.
This is how Pokemon started, right?
Woodland critter Christmas.
Oh, blood orgy. Oh, God.
Blood orgy.
Okay, so we got foxes and ducks.
Oh, no.
Pine
The fuck?
martens and pheasants.
Oh.
And soon these unlikely creature pairings produced a wave of mutant offspring, mammals with beaks, wings, and horns, and feet, no two of them exactly alike.
This is where Australia came from.
Yes. Yeah.
This reminds me of the Woozles. I think it was that Disney cartoon.
Oh, wait.
The Wuzzles?
Yes, the Wuzzles. Oh, my God.
The hybrid animals.
Yes. No, that was actually a really well-written series, but I'm
Yeah,
not going to
no,
get
it was a
into
good
that.
show. Like, it kicked off Disney Afternoon
Yeah.
because, like, they hadn't had Disney Afternoon until that came out.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I think it's sad that they didn't do a second season because, like, the entire fucking voice cast died of old age. But, let's...
Right.
Yeah, sorry, sidetrack.
You know what? Bring it back. Bring back the Wuzzles, Disney.
Yeah, do it, you cowards.
But yeah, like, so you have all these, like, hideous, terrifying monsters.
With Habsburg chins.
So I'll go ahead and continue here.
Yes.
So, a product of its tranquil woodland surroundings, the Wolpertinger is said to be a shy, frugal animal that feasts on herbs and roots found only in the Bavarian forest, as well as the occasional insect if he can get them. The Wolpertinger is not dangerous to humans, but if its saliva touches your skin, thick tufts of hair will begin to sprout.
I need him to lick my 5-head.
It'd also be a great way to kind of like pass the buck if you've been caught masturbating.
The buck, the roebuck, pass the roebuck.
There you go.
Yeah.
Man, if you
There
get a
you
hold
go.
of one of those, you would be like, just rolling in it. Screw, what are those things? Like
Hair Club for Men?
Keeps and all this other stuff. Yeah, you got the real shit.
I'm Cy Sperling, and I was licked by a Wolpertinger.
I make my own brushes.
Oh, God.
So here we go. Keep going here. And if the Wolpertinger feels threatened, he will spray a foul-smelling liquid onto his attacker,
Same.
much like a skunk, a bestial smell that cannot be removed or covered with soap, deodorant, or perfume until it magically disappears exactly 7 years later.
That's a trick.
Fuck.
Right? I love these little weird incidental
Why is-
details about these creatures, man.
And so I find it very interesting, like, that's 7 years bad luck, breaking a mirror.
Oh, yeah. Seven is the number.
These 7-year curses.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, isn't 7 a holy number as well?
It is.
Well, yeah, it's
It
a
is
whole-
a symbol of...
Yeah, like it was
there are
the
7
creation of the
heavens.
universe, right?
Yeah, 6 days and the 7th he rested, 7 heavens, all that stuff.
There's
We
another
need
term
to do a
for it.
numerology episode.
It's a
Oh, God, that's
significant
gonna fuck
number
me over,
to
man.
people.
What was that, David?
Oh, that's gonna fuck me over, man. Like numerology is one of those. It's just like because I'm not a math person. I teach
No.
English.
No,
Goddamn it.
we just talk about, like, the significance. We're not going to sit here and do math.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Okay.
continue.
Well, please
I'm
don't
going to make you
me
do
math.
taxes on the air.
Oh, no.
Don't make me cry. Don't make me cry on the show. So yeah, like that was all one quote from this blog, but like
yeah.
the Wolpertinger is super interesting. Have you ever heard of it before?
No.
Nope.
I recall it being a Brewfest pet on World of Warcraft.
Oh, really?
So the typical Wolpertinger usually resembles a rabbit with antlers, wings, an elongated tail, and sharp
You
fangs.
just described Banicula.
So the Wolpertinger is much like the jackalope because it is a cultural joke and acts as a kitschy form of decor.
Right.
The presence of the Wolpertinger today can be traced back to mischievous Bavarian taxidermists as far back as the 1800s. These taxidermy hybrids would then be sold to tourists. You'd also have these other insane hybrids that would just pop up just because these guys had animal parts laying around.
All right. look, the idea of an animal version of Pull Apart is now in my mind, and I don't like it.
Well, I mean, like you said, they're taxidermists. I mean, they're the guys you bring your kill to and like, hey, stuff this head.
You go stuff yourself.
And then you have the rest of this animal left over. So, like, what do you do with, like, a whole deer body when the hunter just wanted the head?
I don't know, but you don't leave it on a pile in your fucking living room.
You stick, like, you know, some other head on it and laugh about it and show it to your friends. And then some kitschy tourist comes by and, like, yeah, it is a rare animal sighted here. Do you want it? $500.
I'm just picturing some guy taking like the back half of like a deer and just turning it into like a couple's costume, kind of like the horse costume.
God.
With a centaur.
No, I don't like this.
But my friends, for your displeasure, I have some images of these hybrids in a from the blog post. I went ahead and I have a link there if you want to check those out real quick. We can talk about those.
Do not like this. The one with the duck's feet.
And if you look at the show notes, you'll be able to see these as well.
Oh, God.
The fangs on the little guy. Oh, whoa. That's a marmot duck.
A marmot duck, yes. You talking about the long one?
Yes.
Yeah,
the first
fucker.
one after the
No,
article.
the one right
it's
after that, though, Mike.
I thought they were bat wings at first, but when you said they were duck feet, I was like, oh, yes, those definitely are duck feet.
Now, the last one can go fuck itself.
That's just like, I call that the Jumbly-mon.
Do your best description of what this third one is.
It's
A mistake.
It's like
It's got chicken's feet for hands.
I'd say it's a beaver body with duck feet for feet, and like some other furry arms, but chicken hands. And it has like
got wings sticking out of its side, and
like
a
eagle or I don't know some other
hawk.
hawk bird wing under armpits. A fuzzy duck head with horns and goat ears, and luxurious Barbie hair on the back.
Well, I think that's like a tail from like a mink or something, but
I don't know.
I hate the fact that the eyes look to have been from a teddy bear.
Yes, it has very
That
glassy
is the
blue
worst
eyes.
part is the teddy bear eyes.
This thing is weird.
It's certainly
I mean, the depressed little
This-
bat duck foot thing is one thing.
But this looks like there was a wuzzle orgy, and this crawled out of the puddle of goo.
This is the reject scum of the gene pool. You got all the bad parts.
This is the dude was like, I got to make something with the animal parts I have left. Oh no, what have I done?
That seems to be a common thing among taxidermists.
They get very bored because
It's wonderful, but it's fucked.
Yeah, have you seen the thing where the guy took the deer's ass and put eyes on it and turned like the tail and asshole into a mouth?
I have not.
You're lucky.
I do have a question. Is this real life? Nope. Chuck Testa.
Nope. Chuck Testa.
So yeah, I wanted to share those. If you're listening, make sure you check out our show notes. That way you can see these horrors for yourself.
There'll be a link. Yes.
They will haunt you.
As for what the fuck this name means, the Wolpertinger, the blog post suggests two common theories. That it is a deviation of the name Wolterdingen, which is an area around which many of these stories situate.
Okay.
Yeah, like there's a town.
Okay.
The other is that it references Walpurgisnacht, Germany's Night of Witches.
Dude, we need to adopt more German holidays. That's awesome.
Tell you what, if I was single, Night of Witches would be the place to be.
I was going to say, is it Night of Kinky Witches? Because I'm there.
You said witches and then put kinky in front of it. I kind of feel like maybe you're overstating.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, they are German.
Go hand in
So-
German.
yeah. Yeah,
Scheisse.
Hold on. Going on Travelocity. Oh, wait. Ooh, I did not mean to type in that document.
So yeah, those are the theories for the name. But now you may be asking, how do you encounter or dare even catch one of these elusive beasts?
Yeah, actually.
Okay. One way to lure out the Wolpertinger is to explore the forests of Bavaria in the company of an attractive single woman during the night of a full moon.
Oh,
That's a big ask.
That's a big excuse.
Mm-hmm.
That's
is there like a
euphemism.
measure of attractiveness?
I don't know, but it's like, hey,
Is it to the standards of the Wolpertinger?
I mean,
oh God.
no, because if you're starting measuring the attractiveness, that's like a dangerous place to go.
Yeah, you don't want to do
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Yeah,
Like
that-
starting
that's
them,
kind of a
start
dick move on
assigning
their
them
part.
numbers, and then
Oh yeah, yeah.
you start, create a website, hot or not.
I was gonna just mention that. Yeah.
Like there's a Wolpertinger Facebook.
Oh God.
So, if you
Wolpertinger
wish to
or not.
catch, oh yes,
Wolpertinger worthy.
Yeah.
.com.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
Let's move. Yeah. Oh, God.
oh, maybe the Wolpertinger uses Wolpertinder.
Ooh, that's bad as well.
So, if you wish to catch a Wolpertinger, you have two options.
Okay.
The first is sprinkling salt on its tail, or luring it into a sack with a candle.
Okay. The sack and the candle makes no sense to me, but the salt thing sparked a memory from my wee childhood. My great grandma, let me say it right. My great granny Jack. She was a wonderful woman, 100% Choctaw. She used to tell me to go out in the yard and salt a bird's tail and bring it back to her. And I was like, it's too big of a coincidence. And sure enough, I found an article about the practice, and I have linked it in the show notes already. So it's in there, and you can read about the entire concept of salting a bird's tail because it makes him, quote, incapable of flight. So that's just a thing.
Is that a real thing? Because it's
That is a real thing.
sounding a lot like the thing you tell your dumbass cousin to do to keep him busy for like half a day.
God damn, it's an actual old wives' tale that you can stop a bird from flying. I think the deal is if you can get salt on a bird's tail, it couldn't fly to begin with because it was dying.
I was gonna say if you get close enough to sprinkle salt on something, it obviously is too oblivious for
Correlation does not equal causation in this case.
That's probably how they took out the dodo.
Oh yeah, you're salting it so you can eat it.
No, we sprinkled salt on it after.
Oh right.
No, it's just like
Maybe
a fucking
before we
Looney
cooked
Tune, like where the coyote is like putting like salt and pepper on the bird as it's just like
While it's still
looking
like,
around.
Standing there like, what the huh? Or it's his own foot.
So
yeah.
all this catching did remind me of something.
Pokemon?
All this describes perfectly the way you catch a tame rabbit.
How do you catch a tame rabbit?
Tame way.
Oh,
Yep,
God.
I knew that was coming.
fuck.
I didn't expect anyone to walk into that one.
I didn't know it. All right.
That's why I said nothing.
Good for you.
Oh, I'm sorry, we're in Bavaria. That's why I said nothing.
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 Shorts.
So yeah, but I do love those like old timey like, if you want to catch a brownie, you have to light a candle and put it in your windowsill and put a bucket of water below the window so it falls. Yeah, that's sort of like old timey, just fun stuff, man.
Or taping a Ziploc bag full of water to your window.
No,
to
that keeps the
down.
flies away. Yes.
Yeah, I know, but still, it's the same kind of thing.
So, we're going to dial things back a little bit, talk more broadly here. So another term for these larger concepts of horned hares is Lepus cornutus. And we have records of these things that have been around since like 16th, 17th, 18th century publications.
Huh.
Now, the thing is, that's not a jackalope.
Oh, really?
Right. So in Central Americas, we also see references to horned rabbits in the oral traditions of the, I'm going to butcher this, the Huichol people. It's a native Mexican tribe.
Yeah, it's either Huichol or Huchol. It's something.
Yeah. So, there is a presence of horned rabbits in the Central Americas.
Interesting.
But how about we now turn our attention to the jackalope?
By God, yes, because in keeping with everything we've talked about for the last 2 episodes, can you eat them?
I mean,
I don't
better. Yeah. I mean, can you? Yes. Should
Yes.
you? Are they delicious? That's still to be seen.
Well, there's a lot of dead ones.
Yeah. If they're hares, then they're probably very, very lean.
Yeah, you probably don't get a lot of nutrition out of them.
Yeah.
Gosh, that sparks a memory. So in high school, I was in ROTC, and we had a thing where we like did this camp with other area schools, ROTC, like not everybody from our, but just certain people, and each school was kind of like a camp, and they showed us all kinds of different things. And one of the things they did was like at each camp they brought a rabbit out and like showed you how to kill a rabbit and dress it and everything. And I'm like, okay, well, what about the rabbits? Well, later on one of the nights they gathered everybody together, and it was like kind of very Boy Scouty, and like they had us do like skits, and every camp of a school had to do a skit and
This
stuff.
is sounding like Bohemian Grove.
Yeah, but one of the things they had us do was like one by one, like step forward. This sounds really bad describing it now that I think about it. I'm about to describe it. But get on our knees.
Oh no!
Lean our head back and open our mouths.
And jerk off on the rabbit.
No, they dumped something in our mouth, and it turns out it was the rabbit stew.
Oh,
But it was very. We also did was it Snipes and Hunters or something like that?
oh, snipe
The
hunt.
snipe
Well,
hunt?
not snipe hunt exactly, because what it was is like we had to hunt down the counselors or whoever was in charge there.
Is this fucking Rambo First Blood?
Very Lord of the Flies kind of thing, but because they were kids over kids. But yeah, if you were the hunter, you couldn't use flashlights. So, but you would score points if you found one of them. But it's
Now,
all
if
in
you
the
kill
dark,
counselor,
in the
do you
woods.
take their job?
I found Counselor Johnny, and he was naked.
Yeah, no, thank you. But yeah, it was that just sparked this memory because of the rabbit and rabbit stew stuff.
Okay.
Well,
Watching a
your
rabbit get
camp.
snuffed out in front of me.
Jesus
I
Christ.
didn't like it. Didn't bother me, but just
Because he's
Well,
dead
then again,
inside.
yes.
You're a broken man, so
Well, I was a teenager at the time, so
you're a broken teen.
He was
Probably.
just in time to become a serial killer, but just too late because he'd been
It's like,
hugged.
if this would have happened earlier, this might have changed something.
Yeah, I could see that.
No, but your camp memory makes me, it triggers a camp memory I have that was terrible. So I am going to move on here.
yes.
Okay.
So the jackalope, as we know it today, originates in Douglas, Wyoming.
Really?
Wow. One of them flyover
Now,
states.
gentlemen, how long do you think the jackalope has been part of American folklore?
I would assume the 1890s, and the origin mostly being out of boredom and pent-up sexual frustration from wilderness living.
I have no idea.
You want
it's
to try to
fairly
hazard a
modern,
guess?
but-
Like,
Yeah, just
I
throw
would,
a
I would
guess out
say, like Kevin, like 18, maybe 1900s or so.
okay. Well, it is most likely that the jackalope itself has only existed as an American concept since 1932.
Jeez.
there. Wow.
References to a horned rabbit in the U.S. are likely apocryphal, or tales told by settlers from Germany or Mexico in the 19th century about legends from their native land.
That tracks. That's where half of everything. That's how we got Santa Claus.
That's how we got jack-o'-lanterns. It
Yeah.
used to be turnips.
Jackalope lanterns.
Jackalope. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That's a new shirt.
Hey.
But yeah. So like you can imagine a ranchero, talking about my ancestors had a unicorn rabbit, and then you have like some Bavarian doctor like shyster who's talking about the Wolpertinger.
Yep.
So yeah, but before we get into that, here are some of the things you know about the jackalope. All right. So I am borrowing from an article titled The Legend of the Horned Rabbit of the West by Michael P. Branch, and I love this article.
Okay.
Yeah, if you get a chance, read it. It is a ton of fun. So I'm going to be quoting here for a little bit.
Okay.
Many fantastic and contradictory tales are told of the jackalope. To begin with, various sources cite the animal's name as jackalope, jackalope, jackalop, jackhare, jackrabbit, saber-toothed jack, razor jack, bristled hare, deer hare, thistle hare, lion rabbit, antilabbit, deer bunny, stag bunny, cerebideer, boop-boop-a-dooper deer, what's is it, and warrior rabbit.
Hey, look, I'm calling bullshit. Those last few have got to be the product of a stroke. I mean, what the fuck?
They sound like Wonka candy bars.
I'd like a boop boop a doop deer.
Once again, I have to say these are just Pokemon.
Yeah, no, they really
Exactly.
are. Yeah. Do we have Legends of the Squirtle?
Legends of the Hidden Squirtle.
Oh God, I hate that show.
Okay, so at birth, jackalopes are called bunnies unless they are called jackalopinis or leverets. Later in life, they are called calves, or in other stories, spikes. Adult males are usually called jakes, while adult females are does. A group of jackalopes may be called a band, pack, jump, flaggerdoot, or committee.
Okay, I mean, I'm going for Flaggerty.
Okay.
Like, I'm on board with everything so far.
Okay. Yeah, no, I love the flagger dude.
Flaggerdoot, I love it. It's great. We have our own little flaggerdoot
Yeah,
here.
we do.
The committee, though, is when they, lose their
That's-
naivete. And
That's when they put on the ties and bring in the horse.
They start, having procedurals and comptrollers and
Yeah, you don't want to get into that.
All
There's an
right, so-
ombudsman.
yes.
Got more quote here. No two stories represent this information in quite the same way, and there is not even a consensus about whether the plural of jackalope is jackalope, as with deer, jackalopes, as with bears, or jackalopi, as in hippopotami.
Could it be a clutch of jacks alope? Like, like attorneys general?
That's the beautiful thing is we could literally put that out there and people will probably buy it.
Okay, well, we're going to go officially. It's a clutch of jacks alope.
There we go. So, I love that quote. It's from that article. That article is so fantastic. You really need to read it.
It seems it.
Some tales suggest that the jackalope has antlers while others may have horns.
So I was right.
We both
Some
were.
Some tales also suggest that the antelope will shed one antler and will not shed the other until the missing one has regrown.
That's real specific.
Jackalope sizes can vary as well. Bill Alexander, author of the booklet Everything You Always Wanted to Know About Jackalopes, suggests they can get up to about 60 pounds.
Wow.
In comparison, other sources about the now extinct saber-toothed jack suggest up to 150 pounds.
It's a big bunny.
I've seen pictures of that one.
As for their speed, some tales suggest up to 50 or 60 miles per hour,
Wow.
and others still can suggest 90 miles an hour because of this very logically sound idea.
Okay.
If a jackrabbit can do 30 miles an hour and a pronghorn can do a speed sprint of 60 miles an hour, clearly the jackalope's speed becomes an issue of simple math.
Jeez.
30 plus 60 equals 90.
Yeah, no, gee, it makes sense to me, man. What's wrong with you?
How do you feel about that, Mike?
I would think it would be closer to like it wouldn't be a simple addition. Maybe it would be like your base speed plus half of the other speed.
So, like,
So let's call it 75 miles.
yeah,
an hour.
75 miles an hour sounds like a good mid-range point between
Yeah,
the two.
that sounds pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes sense to me. Okay, now, as for their breeding habits,
Wow.
it is suggested that they only breed during lightning storms.
Or when someone's watching.
Well, they they really like the strobing effect.
They don't have to look at each other but for like a split second.
It gets them in the mood.
Oh, yeah.
Now, if you want to hunt a jackalope,
Oh, boy.
you have a couple of potential lures. Now, first, you can lure them with a bowl of whiskey,
Does work for me.
although some may prefer a mixture of whiskey and milk.
Wilk.
However, whiskey-soaked bologna is also a popular option.
That's just gross.
You're just trying to catch me with all this.
That sounds like something Jim Leahy from Trailer Park Boys would do.
soaked bologna.
Oh God, it does sound like some. Or, yeah, no, it's maybe Letterkenny.
No, that's not deviant enough
Yeah,
for.
okay,
No,
that's true.
Letterkenny, they aren't that deviant. No, this
Yeah.
this would be a Trailer Park Boys thing.
Okay.
Like I've seen Ricky bite like a loaf of bread and drink ranch. So yes.
Okay, fair. Now,
so-
why do they get them drunk?
Well, the soused jackalope becomes much easier to hunt because, according to legend, the jackalope believes it can catch bullets with its teeth, deliberately risking its life. It becomes the Randy Marsh of the mythical animal kingdom.
That's everybody when they get drunk, so they're just kind of projecting. I don't think the jackalope is that,
It also thinks
Risk
it's a
managing.
It also thinks it's a better driver.
It also thinks it's a lot sexier and can sing.
It thinks it's whispering.
I'm a great dancer when I'm drunk.
I'm a great dancer. Okay, so that is not to say that the jackalope isn't dangerous. Gorings are a real concern. So often, hunters were said to wear stovepipes on their legs to protect from hit-and-run strikes from jackalopes.
Hey, Mike. New Looney Tunes character just dropped Stovepipe Legs McGee.
I was gonna say, if it was just a rabbit, but imagine if Monty Python and the Holy Grail, it was a jackalope.
Ooh, goddamn! Yeah, no.
Speared him. All right.
Oh, you wascally jackalope.
So one of the most significant and eerie traits of the jackalope is that it can sing and throw its voice as a form of trickery.
See, I told you it was drunk.
This is Loki. I'm calling it.
And again, like, we love our trickster animals,
yeah.
our trickster deities and everything like that.
Absolutely.
We ought to do like an episode like called Just a Prank Bro, and we just talk about the different tricksters.
Oh, that's a great idea.
So I'm going to quote Michael Branch's article again.
Okay.
Quote, many cowboys and campers have told the story of sitting around the campfire at night, crooning a ballad only to hear the jackalope join in, often in sweet harmony with the song's melody. Most accounts specify that the jackalope sings in treble, though a few less credible tale tellers, claim to have heard jackalopes belting out the bass part. Storytellers also agree that the jackalope has a remarkable gift of imitating sounds, including those of coyotes, owls, meadowlarks, and even chainsaws.
Because they obviously didn't just hear coyotes, owls, meadowlarks, and chainsaws.
Or I saw a video earlier today about, it could just be birds, like, one of them birds that mimic shit.
You mean the mockingbird?
Well, there's a bunch
the
of different
myna
birds.
bird.
There's myna.
Well, birds aren't real.
Oh, God, no, we're not going with Clark's explanation. I'm sorry. That is verboten here.
Well, I've got more quote for you here.
Okay, good.
One experienced hunter swears the jackalope is capable of imitating the sound of the hunter's cell phone ringtone in order to distract him. Okay. Most common, though, are reports that the animal has the remarkable ability to make its voice sound as if it is coming from somewhere else. This defensive tactic is used when the jackalope is being pursued by a hunter, in which case the animal will often cry out, "There he goes, over there," in order to throw the hunter off his trail. I will add that the jackalope's use of human language as a deceptive tactic gives lie to those who argue that the animal only mimics our language without understanding its meaning.
Okay. I'm just picturing the little guy singing a song by the Ink Spots as a lone guitar player sits at a fire and he tears up and they just make sweet harmony.
And love.
No.
Well, obviously, they're starting to point to the direction of thing being sentient. So
just picture though a cowboy.
Like, here's the thing.
I don't want to set the world.
Except he wants to start a fire in the jackalope's heart.
Yeah, and
Like I'm saying, he's falling in love with the jackalope.
Okay, that's true.
Wasn't there a jackalope during the campfire song of Three Amigos?
I don't know. It's been so long since I saw
I haven't
it.
watched that one in a while.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
That's a great
since,
one.
like,
Would you
the
say I
90s.
have a plethora? No, but like literally, you just put some antlers on these motherfuckers, and you got Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, no, seriously, I would love to see
Surprised
some
there
more
hasn't
of
been like a jackalope,
cartoon. Yeah,
There might have been.
Yeah,
There might have
besides the
been.
ones from fucking, yeah, the ones with an actual dead stuffed jackalope from America's Funniest People.
Now, I had mentioned 1932 earlier, so we're going to get into the origins of the jackalope
Oh,
here.
good.
Douglas Herrick and his brother Ralph, likely between the ages of 12 and 10 respectively, had returned home from a hunting outing in Douglas, Wyoming. Now, the brothers were interested in taxidermy supplied by mail order guides and catalogs.
Oof.
Yikes.
Like,
This
I know
brother.
there's, like, reluctance to, like... So taxidermy...
There's nothing wrong with
cool.
taxidermy if you're a
Right,
taxidermist.
but then again, like, you know,
Yeah, okay,
Norman
dead
Bates
animals.
Norman Bates did real damage to the taxidermy scene.
I think Ed Gein did a bigger bit of damage than Norman Bates did.
You know, there's nothing. Look,
The-
I can imagine there's nothing
The
better
nipple belt.
when you're, a couple, a 12 and 10-year-old. You're sitting around waiting, and the mail finally comes, and they're, brother, look, this issue tells us how to sew the legs on.
It's like the world's shittiest Legos.
Like
It is.
a box full of animal parts you've been waiting for this issue to how to sew the legs on.
Oh, God.
So you know, they'd returned home from this hunting trip, and Douglas had tossed a rabbit carcass onto a pile of taxidermy parts, where it came to rest beside a pair of deer antlers.
All right. Okay. Let's take just a quick poll, a podcast poll here. Either of you keep a pile of fucking dead animal parts in your room as a kid? Just
Like
I
plastic
have kept
ones.
bones.
well, okay, thank you, Marcus, but Mike, did you keep animal parts?
Plastic ones, like, from toys.
I never even had a rabbit's foot.
I did.
I don't know. Like, if I find a bone, like, it's cool. It's cool.
I
Like,
guess.
there's nothing weird about it.
Well, they
Never
always
kept bones.
talk
Don't
about.
suggest there's something weird about it.
Okay, I'm gonna not kink shame here, so whatever.
Okay. No, I just, like, as a curiosity thing, like, we had a neighborhood cat in the area that unfortunately had passed away. And we went ahead and preserved its skull. And we have it in a little glass terrarium.
Kevin, we agree we're not going to kink shame, but what about psychopathy shame?
We're not gonna get into it, but I just picture these two kids.
Because he may kill us? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that I picture the 12-year-old just like covering for the 10-year-old. Like, the 10-year-old. The 10-year-old walks in with like a strangled animal. It's just, brother, I have killed again.
Well, and I think the situation was this wasn't at their home. I think they were at the taxidermist. Like, they were hanging out there.
That is real frightening to me.
It said taxidermy by mail, so I'm guessing I don't know. It doesn't sound like it's at the taxidermy shop. They got like a subscription to a taxidermy guide.
Brother.
And every month they give you a new way to sew on parts.
I think it was like stuff like anatomy books and like how-to guides. I don't think they fucking ship the parts in the mail. You know what I mean?
No, it's not.
You're not ordering
Like, I
squirrel
don't think
legs.
they would fucking keep, dude. I don't think they would
No,
keep.
it's a magazine that's telling you step by step how to put together the animal, but you have to supply your own animal, which obviously they did with their bucket of parts.
Mr. Dead Animal.
Douglas
then
Herrick
probably the guy-
and his bucket of parts.
Well, the guy who
brother.
ran the shop was probably like, oh, finally, other people. So he was like, yeah, no, feel free to use my shop.
Come on in here, children.
But I recall something. I recall something about like there being the taxidermy shop in the area.
Okay, well, that's great. Let's move on and
Yeah.
stop bad-mouthing these children.
For playing with dead things.
Children shouldn't play with dead things.
So something about the incongruity sparked an idea.
And by the
and
incongruity, you mean the antlers.
the combination of the antler and the rabbit. Yeah.
Right.
So the boys created the first horned rabbit mount to set off this craze. The first jackalope they assembled would be sold to hotel manager Roy Ball for $10, who mounted it at the La Bonte Hotel in Douglas. Now, that original jackalope mount would later be stolen in 1977, probably by Indiana Jones.
That's the year I was born.
Okay, was he wearing stovepipe pants?
Hopefully.
Maybe, maybe not. But no, yeah, that's interesting. The year
Yeah.
you were born, they stole the jackalope.
Like, are you the jackalope?
I was a baby, so probably not.
Did they bring the jackalope to life? And are you that jackalope?
How long did you have the horns before you filed them down?
They put a magical stovepipe hat on me and brought me to life and stuck me in a nursery.
And then they
And my mom thought I was
every
just a
week
child.
they file the horns down like Hellboy.
All right, so after this, like, jackalopes become a recurring in-joke among American taxidermists, and thousands of these mounts have been made since the 1930s.
Right.
Now, Frank English is a particularly influential figure in this kitschy decor, who made a career of mounting jackalopes since he retired from the Air Force in 1981. He is also the only supplier of these mounts to Cabela's, selling for up to $150 for world record jackalopes.
And what a wonderful marriage he must have to spend all of his time in the garage throwing animal bits together as his wife complains that they never go out anymore.
I'll be downstairs in the basement making my animal Legos.
Oh, I wish you'd touch me like you touched the jackalopes.
What, by sticking antlers on her?
Yes, Frank. Frank, please touch me with the jackalope antlers.
Oh, God.
So, the jackalope has been fully embraced by the town of Douglas.
Of course.
And the larger state of Wyoming.
Cool.
So, for starters, the Douglas Chamber of Commerce offers jackalope hunting licenses. But they're only good for use during the official season on June 31st from midnight to 2 a.m.
That's short.
And your IQ must also be greater than 50, but below 72.
I want one.
Whoa.
That is a joke card you can buy.
Oh, yes, of course
but
it is.
I want one real bad.
Yeah, how many days are in the month of June?
30.
Oh, wow.
Exactly.
I didn't even think about that.
There are 30 days in June.
They got you, Mike. They
This
got
is,
you.
yeah.
Because I know 30 days has September, April, June, and November, but I didn't think about it. I didn't
Yeah.
stop to...
There are 30. Yeah. That's great.
Wow, so not only is it narrow, it also doesn't exist.
Yes.
Yes. There's also an 8-foot tall jackalope statue around, which the town offers Jackalope Days celebrations in early June. So you've got this giant 8-foot jackalope statue. You have Jackalope Days in June.
I really thought you were going to say they offer human sacrifices to their horrid
It's like
god.
the fucking Wicker Man. Just people wearing antlers and rabbit teeth dancing around this jackalope statue.
Hey, should we go to the thing and start giving it beans?
No,
Yeah, we should.
Not beans.
It's always beans. If it's a cryptid, it
Stewed
gets
carrots.
beans.
No, stewed carrots.
Carrots?
No, whiskey and bologna.
Yes,
Yeah,
whiskey
yeah.
and
There you go.
bologna.
There you go, man. Little shots
So-
of Jack Daniels.
But I was going to say,
You
does it
know-
want good whiskey or like does it matter?
I don't think it matters.
Yeah. The town of Douglas also uses a pair of jackalopes as its mascots. So,
Of course.
and
It's
the
nice.
well goes. Yeah, the well goes a little deeper. There have been repeated legislation efforts in the state of Wyoming since 2005 to declare the jackalope as their official state mythical creature.
Wow, they're getting oddly specific with these official state blankety blanks.
Well, and based on what I found, they are the only state brave and noble enough to pursue recognition of an official mythical creature.
See, I think everyone should do that.
Right? I think every state should have their official cryptid.
I agree, and I guess Mississippi's would be Mississippi Mudfoot or a Black Panther.
There you go. So I do want to return to something we discussed earlier.
Okay.
So again, the appearances of the jackalope in like storytelling in America before the 1930s are probably apocryphal. If horned rabbits were mentioned, they were likely cultural stories from settlers from Germany or Mexico. A more recent series of tales tries to tie the first jackalope encounter to John Coulter, widely considered to be the first mountain man. You've heard of John Coulter before, yes?
I heard of Jonathan Colton.
Okay, not the same guy.
Okay. There's a link.
so
I'll
John-
read up on it.
Yeah, so John Coulter was like, he's considered to be like the first mountain man, like the kind of Grizzly Adams kind of figure.
Okay.
He was also part of the Lewis and Clark expedition.
Okay. All right. There we go.
Yeah, there's like a few different places. I think he might have been the founder of Jackson's Hole. the town. I'm not sure, but there's like a bunch of landmarks named after him and everything like that. He's an interesting figure.
Okay, cool. All right.
But what if I were to tell you that horned rabbits were real? And what if I were to ruin your night right now and make you sad?
I'd say, fuck you, it's not Weekend Weird this week.
My friends, let's talk about the Shope papilloma virus.
Oh, fuck.
This virus, often known as the cottontail rabbit papilloma virus, is a disease that infects certain breeds of rabbits and causes keratinous carcinomas, resulting in horn-like tumors on the animal's head.
Oh, boy.
This virus is quite gross to look at, so I would avoid looking at it unless your constitution is pretty strong. With that said, these cancerous growths can be easily mistaken for horns in certain cases. The end result is often a slow, agonizing death of starvation as the rabbit can no longer eat.
All right, I've seen it before. I've read about it before. And I fucking hate it. Thank you.
It is gnarly shit.
It is
like
awful.
If you get a chance to look at it, it's like the most horrifying thing.
Yeah, no, I've seen people with it. And it's bad.
Yeah. So, however, Richard E. Shope, a cancer researcher, discovered the virus in 1933, which is a weird synchronicity here.
Right after the origin of the jackalope.
So his research helped develop the first mammalian model of cancer caused by a virus. The virus would eventually be sequenced in 1984, eventually leading to the development of the HPV vaccine.
Well, that's kind of cool.
So, that's what I have for you on the jackalope. Do you have any thoughts on this?
How about you, Mike?
Damn, that's some horny rabbits.
I mean, I find it interesting just how American the idea is and how widespread now. I know that in her later years, my mom had a small figurine of a jackalope that my grandfather gave her when she visited California the one time. So, I mean, it's fascinating. It's a fun little thing.
Yeah.
It's just a goofy roadside attraction kind of feeling thing. Kind of like when you go in a place and there's a box that says man eating chicken and you open it, it's a photo of a man eating chicken.
Yeah, it's very much like a roadside attraction sort of creature. Again, it's like nobody takes it seriously. We're all in on the joke here.
It's like the largest ball of twine version of a cryptid.
But it's also like how these communities kind of like build their own notable things, which is always fun. Like these weird little things that pop up in these communities. And like it's interesting to see how it spread and became such a thing.
Right. And regardless of the origin, that's kind of what's going on with the Mothman right now. He's been adopted by so many now that it's become a positive thing. So, yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I have on the jackalopes. Again, like, it's a different kind of cryptid than we covered in the fact that, like, we know this thing is not real.
Yeah. Well,
but it's still a lot of fun.
Before we move on to our next one, we're going to take a short break, and we will be right back after this. And welcome back to Supernatural Selection. David, I understand you have more for us.
Yes. I was just going to the break and Holly brought up, like, I think you were talking about the heffalumps and woozles. When we were talking about the wuzzles, I'm like, listen, I'm going to Google this shit for you and point out how wrong you are.
Okay.
So, yes, I'm looking forward to doing that after the show.
Yeah. Now, there were heffalumps and woozles, but
yes, that was Winnie the Pooh, right?
Wuzzles, yes. The wuzzles are a completely different thing.
Yeah, don't fuck with me on the wuzzles. I remember the wuzzles.
Didn't they actually have those pop up in, like, the new DuckTales as, like, bizarre lab experiments?
I remember the gummy bears were referenced, but yeah, probably the wuzzles as well. And they also had Chippendale Rescue Rangers. Man, that DuckTales cartoon was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really sad when they didn't make more of that.
Right? Ah, man. Anyway.
Like the best thing Disney has done as a cartoon in ages.
Yep.
So we've got another cryptid here. This is volume 1, and I'm going to have some other cryptids in the future, but we're going to turn our attention to the second American cryptid of the night.
Okay.
Gentlemen, what do you know of the hoop snake?
Literally just that 4 of them were in a Tex Avery cartoon, and they bit their tails, turned into wheels, and drove off like a car with engine noises and squealing rubber. So, again, I blame Texas.
Now, Mike, have you ever heard of a hoop snake?
I've heard of a trouser snake.
Oh, no. No. Bad. No. Okay, so a hoop snake, obviously, when you hear about it, it seems pretty obvious what it is, but the hoop snake is a legendary creature rumored to be found across the United States, Canada, and not at all surprisingly, Australia.
Go
You know,
fucking
all
figure.
the snakes.
It just sounds like something that would kill you in Australia.
Indiana
Now-
Jones's favorite country.
Now, I think we can open this with a little folktale. I grabbed this tale from an archive.org snapshot of an American folktale website. Now, Kevin, I want you to read this story to us in all its
Okay.
glory.
All right. Now, one fella I knew, he was hoeing his field when a hoop snake came rolling towards him. He ducked behind his hoe, figuring he was a goner, but the snake's tail hit the hoe instead of him, and there it stuck. Well, he was just hightailed it out of there right quick and headed for home. He knew he had to wait until dusk to get his hoe. Hoop snakes what get into fights never die before sundown. Sure enough, he went back after sundown, and that hoop snake was as dead as the average doornail. The handle of the hoe was so swole up with poison that the farmer had it cut up and shingled his bomb with it. 'Course, I happen to know that they all fell off after the first big storm because the rain washed the poison right out of them. But you can't blame a fella for trying. Now, I gotta ask, David, what the yeehaw yelling, white lightning drinking, holler crossing fuck was that?
It just reminds me of Grandpa Simpson, give me 2 bees for a nickel. We tied an onion
chased
to our
him.
belt, as was the fashion in the day.
I chased him for diggity 6 miles.
But yes, I love that story. It's just,
Yeah.
it's so fucking weird. But the handle was so full of poison that I used it to shingle the roof.
I mean, what the fuck?
So obviously in this story, we pick up on 2 characteristics of the hoop snake here. They roll around like a wheel, and they have a poisonous stinger at the end of their tails.
Because that's how snakes work, right, Mike?
Sure, yeah, why not? Well,
Exactly.
a mythical snake that rolls around like a wheel, why couldn't it have a venomous tail?
I guess.
And it would be venomous because poisonous only kills you if you eat it. Venomous kills you if it bites or
Right.
stings you.
This has been Nitpick Corner.
Wow. Okay. In all
no,
fairness,
I
I,
get you,
was
I get
waiting
you.
for Mike to do that. So.
No, come on. It's the pedant playpen.
It's the Pedant Plaza.
Mike, you're being very banal right now.
All right,
Well.
so with that said, these characteristics evoke some snake and serpent myths and imagery, but do not translate over quite as similarly as various horned rabbits in the case of the jackalope.
Right.
Right, so I think we already know where I'm going with this. But I'm going to go ahead and quote Carl Patterson Schmidt here, who served as an assistant curator of reptiles and amphibians with the Field Museum of Natural History. Quote, "My first impression was that this must be one of the universal snake myths, and I thought of the familiar snake bracelet or finger ring in which the head of the snake meets the tail. On inquiry, however, there appears to be no classical or European analog of the American hoop snake story. The Midgard serpent of Norse myth, a sea monster represented as encircling the earth, could not, in the opinion of the writer, have had a bearing on the hoop snake story.
Okay.
Herodotus, the earliest source of some still current misinformation concerning reptiles, is not the fountainhead of this legend, and it does not find its place in Pliny, whose voluminous natural history would surely have included a story so much in his own vein had he known of it. My search of possible European sources was slight, but it gave no clue to a European prototype of the hoop snake yarn." So the clearest association that might come to mind here is the image of the how do you say that?
Ouroboros.
Ouroboros, yes, that's it. But the imagery doesn't necessarily relate to the characteristics of the hoop snake either, beyond this like simple loop idea.
Mike, David's taunting me with a bunch of Wheel of Time references that I'm not allowed to make anymore.
You're not allowed?
You told me I couldn't make these jokes anymore.
Oh,
Well, let him have one.
No. I
Okay.
just wanted to get it out there that this is very Wheel of Time.
You're trying to
well,
go cold turkey.
But like he's pointing out, the image of a snake biting its own tail is a very old
Universal, yes. Now the hoop snake, on the other hand,
iconography.
Yeah,
it's iconography. Yes.
Yeah. So we get like this idea of the snake eating its own tail, but we never really get one that like rolls around at the speed of sound, got nowhere to go, got to follow its rainbow. For those of you Sonic fans.
That dude, you original character, do not steal.
So
Hoopy the hoop snake.
we do have some other ones though, some other interesting snake cases. So the hoop snake, what the fuck? The hoop snake also does bear some resemblance to the yokai Tsuchinoko, which resembles a fat snake that can also roll into a wheel of sorts.
Okay. Wagon wheels.
Now this
wagon wheel.
Now this is the inspiration for the Pokemon Dunsparce for you Nintendo fans. If you've ever seen what Dunsparce looks like.
I think so.
I love Dunsparce. He's so cute. Anyway, I would also argue that one of the Godzilla forms in 2016 Shin Godzilla borrows heavily from the Tsuchinoko as well.
I'm guessing that's the one that crawls around on the ground.
Yeah, it's the one that like has like no arms. And then, of course, we'll be covering more yokai in future episodes for sure.
So be sure to watch for more yokai.
As we transition to a game podcast.
I'll see myself out.
Well, we could technically do an episode on Polybius and then become a game podcast. So, yeah. There we go. So, yeah, like, again, like, there are interesting cases of snakes eating their tails, and the only other one that kind of, and even then, I don't think the Tsuchinoko actually like rolls into a hoop. I think it just kind of rolls like if you just like shoved a sausage down a hill.
Yeah,
it rolls sideways.
It rolls like me when I've eaten too much chili.
I've seen this. He's right.
So, the earliest reference to what would become the hoop snake in writing comes from a letter dated in 1688 by John Clayton to the Royal Society of London. Quote, "There is another sort of deadly snake, the red snake. I once narrowly escaped treading on the back of one of them. They're an ugly dark brown color, inclining to red. Their bellies are of a more dusky white, with large streak of vermilion red on either side. This too is of the viper kind, but it is not so short, but its tail is more of a taper and small. The horn snake is, as they say, another sort of deadly snake. I never saw any of them unless once, shortly after my arrival in that country, which I cannot attest to being the horn snake, for I could not distinctly view it, being in a thicket of sumac. It was perched up about 2 feet high in a sumac branch, its tail twisted about the shrub, and about a quarter of a yard stood bolt forward, leaning over and forked branch thereof. I could not see the horn with which it strikes, and if it wounds, it is as deadly as the rattlesnake's bite. The gentleman that was with me told me that that it was the horn snake, but being in haste and on horseback, and the snake in a thicket, I could not see the horn, but I had thought I should never have seen more of them. I should have took a little pains to have been better satisfied. This, I think, may not be improperly referred to as the dart snake." Now, again, that's like old English, horrible to read. I hated every moment of that.
Yes, I could feel the pain in you.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, obviously, we're not talking about like a pointed tail here. We're not talking about a stinger. Instead, it's a horn. All right.
Yeah.
So Now, Patterson's article that I'm referencing here is quite interesting as it references documentation and traces how the depiction of this cryptid evolves over a couple of centuries. And it's another one of those where I suggest reading it. It's linked in the document. He goes through a lot of detail about finding all these letters where people are writing about this creature, and you see it evolve in its depictions.
Right.
So, as for where we get the hoop in this evolution of depictions, it appears that it occurs in a 1784 letter by J.F.D. Smythe, which includes mention of the stinger in addition to the hoop. So, while the hoop snake is a pretty silly idea that, like the jackalope, it may carry some real-life inspiration. One reasonable association can be found with the locomotion of sidewinders, as their movements at the right angle can be seen as rolling. I mean, that's one of the arguments that's put forth, and
This is like
I can
UFO
see it.
debunking.
Right.
I don't know that I buy that.
Right. Now, mud snakes may occasionally lie in hoop shapes as well. Some snakes, such as captive rat snakes, have been observed to eat their tails. I've read a couple studies where they've killed themselves trying to eat their tails.
That's neurosis, I think.
Or
Yeah.
maybe it's just like a dog where it chases its tail.
Or maybe it's like a crab that's under extreme stress in a restaurant waiting to die and rips its arm off.
Imagine trying to unalive yourself by eating yourself.
Did you just say unalive yourself?
I don't want to use the S word because, that might upset some people.
How about off?
Yeah, okay. I mean, that's fine. I think like the parlance that people prefer is unalive. But yeah, like imagine
sure.
trying, if you were trying to do that to yourself, what part of your body would you start eating?
I
I guess I'd eat my ass first. I don't know.
With snakes have a lot more options in that. Well, less options, I guess. I guess they only have one option. If you're a snake, there's only one thing you could start to eat.
Your butt.
It's your other end.
Yeah.
But no, the crab thing, isn't that normally in the wild? That's kind of a defense mechanism.
Dude,
You're
I watched
running
one.
away.
I watched one do that
what
at the
saying
restaurant.
Is in the wild, they do that so they can get away and let their attacker just eat the claw they ripped off.
I assumed it was a crab ripping its arm off and going, I told you I was hardcore.
No, it's a stress thing, yes, because in the wild, most of the time they're under stress. It's because something's trying to eat them.
Okay, all right.
And I guess it did it in the tank just because, the same reason I overeat.
Oh, God. Stress, depression.
Because in the wild, I would overeat to, prepare for winter. Here, I'm preparing for the winter of my heart.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so those are a couple explanations for the hoop idea.
Right.
I think the sidewinder is a stretch, but I could see someone seeing that. You know what I mean? Like the way that they move around at the right angle.
I guess, but it's still a sidewinder. It's still slithering sideways.
Right. So, as for the idea of a stinger, this may just be mistaking a rattlesnake's tail. You might be aware of the tail because it's shaking, it's getting your attention, and then you don't see the bite happen.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe that.
Yeah. Well, they're quick, so yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point of the tail is it
Distraction.
distracts the thing. Is you're watching the shaky tail, and it's just get you.
Yeah, and if you get fucked up by a rattlesnake bite, you're probably not was it the tail or was it the head? You're just again, if you're one of these people back then. So, again, this is just a very brief one. With that said, that's all I have for you regarding the hoop snake. What do you guys think of the hoop snake?
I think the hoop snake. I don't know. I just now, how in ye olden times you'd see the kids chasing a hoop with a stick.
Or they're
Just
using the
taxidermied snakes being rolled through the streets. And I kind of want to take those taxidermied hoop snakes and put little antlers on them.
Oh, so suddenly you like taxidermy?
No, I'm just saying. Okay, if it's a snake, yes, I prefer taxidermy. Thank you.
Look. When I went to a friend's wedding in Pittsburgh, we went to a self-described house of oddities I never wanted to see a fish with dentures, and I never want to see it again now.
Okay.
Because it's a fish with human teeth.
Now I'm just thinking about the bird with teeth from Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
God.
Bird with teeth. Denim chicken.
God.
But yeah, it turns out it's just a husband and wife that likes to collect weird things and dress as steampunk goths. And
That sounds like my way of life.
There is a couple that comes in our store, Mike, and I think you know who they are. They're the ones that buy the boxed wine.
the hippies.
Yeah, the older couple, real friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could see them running a house of oddities.
Maybe.
I mean, it'd be some interesting oddities, but still.
Now, do they ever come in and ask you if you want to be a third? Because then you would probably have Holly and I.
No, those two left.
Okay.
Those two no longer are separated, and one of them moved to Florida.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That was a whole thing.
That was a thing. Now
well, we have our oddities here. Like that's our thing. Like when we finally have a nice enough place to decorate, there's going to be all sorts of weird shit here.
Well, so I'm not going to go too deep into this, but yeah, it was definitely a house full of junk, and not junk. I can't say junk. I guess
stuff.
It was stuff. Mm-hmm. I can't imagine living in a house like that.
I can imagine living behind a house like that. This was
when you start charging the random populace at large 2 bits a gander to see your house, I think you
ought to move.
I think you should reevaluate things. I mean, because that's literally what it was. It's they charge like $5 to look through their house.
Now you're telling me their house was a museum and people wanted to see them? They really were a scream?
Yes.
Okay.
Even
The
if you
weirdo
had,
family.
He had like a funeral limousine out front and like
see, now you're just
car out
describing
back.
like my future plans. What the fuck?
Yeah, no, you're basically describing future David.
Yeah, like I want a hearse. A hearse would be great.
just like oddities and weird knickknacks and lots of taxidermy everywhere.
Now that you come to say it, minus the taxidermy, it doesn't sound that bad.
It's a conversation starter.
Mike, you need to pull the photos out and post them somewhere.
This wasn't a conversation starter. This was like a full-on
friendship ender.
No, this isn't. Their house could not be described as an icebreaker. As more of like the iceberg that sank the Titanic.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, it's about the upkeep. It's about the upkeep.
That's a lot of dusting too.
Yeah, and we don't do a lot of dusting here. I don't think we could get away with that.
All those little things, little tchotchkes that you have to dust.
Well, and you know, here's the thing. I'd probably like kind of keep it isolated to an area, like maybe a room or something. Like, welcome to the weird room.
Oh yeah, no, that's different.
Well, this was the whole first floor of their house.
Okay, that's fair. Like,
second floor was a sex dungeon.
Probably. Well, it was Pittsburgh, so they probably had a basement. So
again, nothing here is bothering me. Everything here seems pretty natural for me. So.
Including the sex dungeon. Okay, that's fair. So, I really enjoyed this topic, especially the jackalope. I would love to help you out on the next one because I really want to talk about 2 things in particular.
Yeah, I've got a couple targets on my hit list here.
Oh,
like
you sent me a picture.
Trout. The furry trout.
That is terrible.
But here's a question before we wrap this up. If we operated a secret cryptid fighting ring, who would win, the jackalope or a hoop snake?
Oh, that's a
I'd say jackalope. Well, okay, if they have all their canonical powers,
the
hoop snake sounds. Well, you know what they've been.
Yeah, no, I gotcha.
The hoop snake sounds way more dangerous.
It does.
Well, here's the thing about the canonical powers of the jackalope. Those were changed during the Council of Nicaea. So.
Now, here's the thing. You're saying the canonical powers, and it's like the hoop snake keeps jumping at him with the stinger. And what does the jackalope do? Hey, somebody help me.
Well, and here's the thing. What if the ring that they were fighting in was one of those like motorcycle cages that's a sphere. So the hoop snake is just riding around the side and like darting down. Man, this is cool.
I hear the plate spinning music in my head.
This is cool. I want to see this.
Do you? You want to watch an innocent jackalope get murdered by a snake?
Oh, no. You know, if it's old enough, if it's capable of like distinguishing like whiskey bologna as its favorite thing, then it's probably a sinning creature.
Okay, this is the only rabbit. This is the only rabbit that knows original sin.
Like if you're wearing a lightning rod and your only time to mate is going out into like a thunderstorm, like you kind of have a death wish anyway. You want to catch bullets with your teeth. Like, okay, this thing wants to die, so why not let it have a badass way of going out?
Yeah, okay, fair. You probably had to feed it whiskey bologna to get him into the cage.
Just a fucking log of bologna and just fucking injecting the whiskey in it.
I know, it's like when you inject your turkey with butter and stuff and garlic on Thanksgiving. You ever done that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just do that, but with bologna and whiskey. Now, here's the other question, Mike, as a fellow liquor store employee. All bourbons are whiskeys.
Yes.
Do you think it prefers bourbon?
I don't know. It didn't seem very picky.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Okay, that's fair, but like, I would be a discerning jackalope.
I think the whiskey is just more of a vehicle for it getting drunk.
Brown liquor in general.
No, it's just that's all they had in the in that time period. I'm sure it would.
I just don't think it would want vodka.
Well, I mean, if you soak the bologna in vodka, it'd probably go to town on it.
Now I'm just thinking about like infusing vodka with slices of bologna and how terrible that would be.
God.
Like, because I've done Skittles vodka before. That was kind of fun.
Mike, did you tell David about the new flavor of bourbon we got in at the store?
Well, it's not a bourbon. Oh, is it a bourbon? I think it's a flavored whiskey as far as I know, but it's barbecue.
Huh.
Barbecue. It's called, what's it called?
Curveball.
Curveball. That's right.
Like, I could see that working.
But its slogan is throw it back, which I'm sure they mean like throw it back like you throw back a shot, but it just sounds like, when you're fishing and you throw it back.
Yeah, I don't want this.
Like,
Away with you.
I could see it working though.
Hey, that's good because nobody else can.
I don't know. I'd try it.
The one person I know that's had it said it was wretched. So
Yeah.
Who had it? I've not heard any.
A former coworker of ours.
I didn't
named after a video game character.
Tron?
Sonic? Yeah, I remember
Yes,
Sonic.
It's Dig Dug, our good friend Dig Dug.
All right. So, I mean, that's all I got for you guys on this one. This is kind of like a short one for us, but I think it was fun. I think I think we could do a short one as a treat sometimes.
Absolutely. I mean, it's only an hour and a half, probably.
Mm-hmm. That's all.
So, big shout out to our patrons. Thank you for the support. We really appreciate it. If you would like bonus content, which me and David, I think, will be recording this weekend, correct?
Yeah, I think we can manage that.
All right, Sunday we'll record. And
Sunday.
Because I got my notes about that death fungus. Yeah, that's terrible. So thank you to our patrons. Shout out to the Skinwalker at work.
It's just so fucked up that you just refer to him as that, and he's like, yeah.
Oh, no, he is like, one day I'll go back to my home planet. And I'm like, okay.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, he's always talking about crazy shit like that. He's down with it, so. Of course he is. He's a Skinwalker. Why lie? So thank you to our listeners. We'll be back next week with Weekend Weird. I think next week we're doing another live recording, right?
I wasn't planning on it, but fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah, no, I thought we were going to do it like once a month, and I was like, hell, this is our once a month.
Oh, because I was wondering if we were going to do it for like patrons only. Fuck it, let's do one for everybody.
Let's do it for everybody.
We'll let people know throughout the week, hey, come join us. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And what we can do is for patrons, we could do a hangout.
There you go.
Yeah, and you can talk to us.
There you go. That'll let us test some stuff. I like it.
All right. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening. If you'd like more info on the show and see how to support us or contact us with your own paranormal stories, you can go to contact.supernatpod.rocks or just find everything at supernatpod.rocks. Join us on our Discord and join our ever-growing community. And support us on Patreon. And we got several tiers. It's a lot of fun. We got it on that site, so you can check it out there. You can find the show at SupernatPod at horrorhub.club on Mastodon. We still have an at SupernatPod on Twitter. That does not update.
Nope.
Fuck Twitter. So, David, you got anything you want to plug?
Nothing really. I think this has just been a fun little episode, and eager to talk cosmic death fungus with you this weekend.
Hell yeah. And one thing I am going to say, how did that man versus bear thing in RG Bots turn out?
Green's fucking dead.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Yep. Always good to know. Mm-hmm. Mike, anything you want to plug? Any shout outs?
My ass is on fire.
Burning his rectum.
Fire
rectum damn near killed him.
Fire in his butthole. Oh, man. Yeah. Okay, so next week, Week in Weird. And then after that, we're going to talk about Indrid Cold.
Oh, shit.
Shit, dog. This thing went more sideways than I could have imagined, but we'll talk about that later. So, again, thank you for listening. We'll catch you next week. So until then, stay safe and stay frosty. Goodbye.
May your baloney be whiskey soaked.
That's goddamn beautiful.
I got nothing.
Too much dumb bitch juice.
No, I was sitting here looking at pictures.
Porn?
No, I'm dumping pictures into the Discord.
Oh, cool.
I want to show David some of the weird shit.
Hey, there we go.